Hey everybody, it is the 1st of September, so it's time for another monthly update video. I'm going to tell you all about what you might have missed from the previous month of August and all the cool stuff that we've got coming up in September. I always like to begin with three big things. So big thing number one is that this weekend we have an open enrollment one-day seminar on one of the greatest texts in Western philosophy. That is Plato's Symposium. I'll be leading it. We'll have a lot of room for discussion. It's going to be a really cool event, and anybody who wants to enroll certainly can. There's seats still available for the event, but we are capping it at 30 participants, so you might want to get in before the last minute, before everything fills up. Big thing number two. So I'm really happy to say that we reached a kind of milestone in the Wisdom for Life radio show that I co-produce for River West Radio with my co-host and friend Dan Hayes. We crossed the 100 episode boundary limit, whatever you want to call it, threshold. So we released episode 100 this past weekend, and that's a really cool thing to have done. 100 episodes of a show on the radio that's devoted specifically to philosophy. Big thing number three, towards the very end of the month, we will be beginning another study with Sadler Saturday class. This time it's a reprise of what's proven to be a very popular class on Aristotle and the moral virtues. So we're going to kick that off on the 27th. I hope you can join me if you haven't already taken that class. It's going to be a lot of in-depth study, but it's suitable for everybody from beginners all the way up to fellow professors who sometimes enroll in my classes. So those are the things on the horizon. Let's talk now about the past month. As I mentioned, August was quite a busy month, and you'll soon have a good idea why. You probably didn't register or you missed some of these things. Links to them are found below. If they are online, most of them are. So we had quite a few events, our usual AMA. I also held a birthday bash for my 55th birthday. We did Worlds of Speculative Fiction, and we focused on Ken Liu's, the first book of his Dandelion Dynasty. I actually decided to just do that one because it's so dense, and to come back to him this coming month. We had a really cool classic metal class session where we focused on the role of keyboards in heavy metal, which I think a lot of people overlook, particularly in early heavy metal. And we had a Philosophers in the Midst of History session here in the Milwaukee area, which we video recorded, and that one was focused on Mary Wollstonecraft. So a lot of stuff that went on that wasn't directly event or video or podcast related. As I mentioned, it was my birthday on the 18th. I turned 55 years old. That was pretty fun. We did a nice little event. I had my wife asked what I wanted. I said chili dogs and Chicago hot dogs. So I got the chili dogs and just had a fun time. I also had some medical stuff taken care of this month. I went in for a sleep study. We'll get the results of that before too long. I had a cyst taken out of my back that was bothering me, and turns out was bothering me more than I realized. So that's really wonderful, and it's almost healed up. Classes started, my academic classes. I'm teaching two of them from Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design and one of them at Marquette University. It was also the preseason for the Green Bay Packers, which is almost like a mini religion here in Wisconsin. So, of course, we had to check out the games and, see the Packers sometimes not do quite so well. What else? I did a lot of volunteer shifts at Almost Home Cat Rescue, which I think you've probably seen the pictures of. And I was there for several transfers. I am one of the people who helps to welcome the new cats, make them feel, safe, happy, less, worried about stuff. I've got, some sort of ability to help them out in a minor way with that. So I really enjoy doing that. And we've had some really cool cats and kittens come through this month, lots of adoptions as well. And so I've been there for, I think, nine or more adoptions this last month. I did some interviews with the Danny Lee podcast and Michael Brown's podcast as well. And a lot of writing. You can check that out in Substack. If you're not already a subscriber, you might want to click the link below and check that out. I write about 5 pieces each week. I also do some that are just for paid subscribers, the Letters to a Young Philosopher. I do a podcast in there as well, Mind and Desire, and I do some exclusive videos, both for my YouTube members and for my paid Substack subscribers. Video work, speaking of videos, well, you've seen a whole bunch of core concept videos on book 2 of Cicero's On the Nature of the Gods, which explore Stoic ideas about cosmology, theology, some other things as well. I did another fake quotes video, this time with Rene Descartes. I did another video that actually took off quite well about the bare minimum for a conversation. It came out of a Twitter post that somebody made, which drew a lot of interesting commentary. Evil Sadler showed up with some terrible advice for the beginning of the new semester. And I also did a Sadler's story about one of the dumb things some of my cousins did many years back. And there's the video, of course, of the Wisdom for Life radio show. We also record video of it. So episode 100 is available for you to check out. Podcast work, I did podcast episodes on Camus' Letters to a German Friend, which I think is a really amazing text. I'm teaching it this semester, actually, in one of my classes. Another text that I'll be teaching in that same class, Augustine's Confessions, a number of new Sadler's Lectures podcast episodes on that. And I did some on Jorge Luis Borges's short stories that I didn't get to before when I was doing a lot of work on Borges. I still haven't gotten everything covered, but I'm getting closer. And then finally, there was a one-off on Thomas Hobbes and his Leviathan that I found I'd forgotten to create a podcast episode on. So that was the month of August. What is coming up in September? A lot of cool stuff. As I mentioned, the first thing in the month is going to be this Plato one-day seminar. Now, let me tell you a little bit about that. So it's coming up on Saturday, September 6th, and 9 a.m. Central Time. All the times that I'm giving you are Central Time. And that will be the time for the first of 3 90-minute sessions. So we'll do 9 o'clock, take a little break, 11 o'clock, take another little break, and then 1 o'clock. And that can go on maybe, for 90 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. We are going to be exploring together this amazing text that I'm also teaching in one of my classes this semester to academic students. But you can sign up for it. You can enroll, whether you are a beginner or somebody who's, very advanced. You're going to get a lot out of it. I will do some lecture. We'll have a lot of discussion. And we're going to be looking at these really cool speeches that Plato places in the mouths of a whole bunch of people about what love is, right? So that is coming up on September 6th. That means that we're doing our AMA about a week later than we normally would do. Usually first Saturday of the month is a Ask Me Anything session. It'll be second Saturday of this month on the 13th at noon. I'll be holding that AMA, so join me, ask your questions, lurk if you want to. People are going to be asking about all sorts of interesting things. Following that at 2 p.m. Central Time on the 13th, I will have my monthly philosophy chat for Patreon supporters. That is a little bit more exclusive, but it's also a really great way for me to get to chat with people about things that they're really interested in. Then on the 20th, we will be doing starting at noon, Worlds of Speculative Fiction. We're going to be continuing on with book 2 of Ken Liu's Dandelion Dynasty novels. This is going to be a really good one. We're going into all sorts of philosophy stuff, and it's just a wonderful but long and dense novel. So join me for that. On the 21st, Scott Cerulli and I tentatively, we might have to move this, but hopefully it'll be on the 21st. We'll have our classic metal class, and this time we're going to be approaching essentially a metaphysical topic. What is influence? It's a word that we use all the time. What does it actually mean or translate to? What does it mean causally for one band to influence another? And I think this might be a topic that we won't get to the complete bottom of, but we're certainly going to start exploring it. On the 26th, which is a Friday at noon, the Acid Horizon guys have asked me to come on once again, and I forget exactly what they call it. It's got a clever title, but it's essentially like an AMA, except for all of us together. I don't know if I'll actually get asked that many questions, frankly, but it should be a lot of fun. It's kind of free form, so join us for that. On the 27th at 9 a.m., we will have our first class session for that Aristotle 8-week class that I was mentioning before. Aristotle on the moral virtues, going to be a really fun time. If you haven't taken that class, you might want to check it out and sign up for it. It's in the Study with Sadler Academy, and I'll put a link to it below as well. And then finally on the 27th, following that, hopefully I'll be getting to another self-directed study, Sadler's advice video, this time about St. Augustine. I've been putting this off for a while, but I really do want to get to that. There's a couple other things that might be happening. One definitely will be happening, but I don't know exactly when I'm going to schedule it. So I mentioned that I was on Michael Burns' podcast earlier last month. He just recently did a video that included some excerpts of that about YouTube and philosophy, whether you can do philosophy on YouTube. I obviously think you can. I've got some thoughts about that. I am going to be shooting a video in the next few days, and then I will do a live premiere of that video so I can have some live chat with people about that very question. And maybe some people from his channel will want to come over and chat about that with me as well. And we were going to be doing a 52 Great Ideas Comprehensivist Wednesdays. That was going to be focused on Alistair McIntyre, who recently died and who I got to study with. That wound up being postponed. It may be happening this coming month. I'll put announcements about that once we know. It has to do with the co-host and what's going on in his own rather busy life. So once that's rescheduled, I'll let you know about that. Video work. So I am going to be releasing a number of core concept videos on Thomas Hobbes' Leviathan because I'm teaching that text again this semester. And so it's about time that I actually produced those core concept videos on book one of the work. I'm also shooting some on the correspondence between Abelard and Eloise because I'm teaching that this semester. I'm teaching a often overlooked work by Bentham called Offenses Against Yourself, which has to do with sexual morality. So I'm doing some core concept videos on that. And I'll be shooting, I don't know if I'll be releasing, but I'll be shooting a slew of new videos on Thomas Aquinas's Summa Theologiae, some from prima pars, some from prima secundae, some from secundae secundae. They all have to do with the nature of love because I'm teaching a class this semester on love, friendship, desire, and stuff like that. So that's core concept videos. I'm also going to be getting to those long overdue book reviews. I got to start cranking those out. We'll do some more Sadler stories. I've got some cool ones lined up for you already. I'm going to do another fake quote video. And as I mentioned, we're going to see if we can get a self-directed study video done this month as well. Podcast work. I already started releasing the first in a set on Philip Jose Farmer's amazing novella, The Lovers, which I think everybody should check out and read. I'll also be releasing podcast versions of Cicero's On the Nature of the Gods. Using the videos that I've already been, releasing over the last month, turning those into podcast episodes, and the Hobbes Leviathan videos, those are going to get turned into podcast episodes as well. Why is there going to be such a quick turnaround on that? Well, because I want them available as a resource for my students enrolled in classes this semester. I'll do some Mind and Desire podcast episodes as well. Probably do some more writing in Substack with the Letters to a Young Philosopher series, and we'll see what else I can get done this month. There's a lot going on. I'm trying to get a lot of work sort of squared away before we get to the even busier month of October and then start moving into the winter month. So hope you can join me for some of these things. As I mentioned, links to all of these things are going to be found below. Stay tuned for announcements about the Aristotle class, about the 52 Great Ideas rescheduling, and about the video response to Michael Burns' video and some of the other stuff that's coming up. And as always, I hope you have a great month ahead. Hope the month behind us was a good one for you. If not, maybe try to make this one a good one for you. And I will see you somewhere in the various internet locations where you can find me.